We are often our own greatest adversary, standing in the way of our own success, our own peace. The path to true achievement is not shaped by external forces, but by the decisions we make when no one is watching. It is in the quiet moments, when doubt and hesitation whisper in our ears, that the battle is won or lost. Self-sabotage does not come from an enemy outside, it is born within. To conquer it, we must first recognize its presence. The most profound enemy we face is the one that undermines our own purpose, the one that keeps us tethered to mediocrity when greatness lies just beyond the horizon. Understand this. Our actions must reflect the goals we claim to pursue, or those goals will remain distant, just like the dream of a better self that we so often chase but never quite grasp. Today we will confront this internal struggle head-on, for only through alignment of thought and action can we break free from the shackles we've unwittingly placed upon ourselves. 1. The battle within. Understanding self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is the silent war we wage against ourselves every day. It doesn't wear the face of an enemy we can see, and it doesn't announce its presence with the clamor of battle drums. No, it's subtle, quiet, almost imperceptible, but its effects are far-reaching. It is the small decisions we make, or refuse to make, that shape the course of our lives. It's the way we hesitate before taking that first step, the doubt that creeps in when we're on the brink of success, or the comfort we seek when we know change is necessary. It doesn't scream at us, but it suffocates us slowly, one decision at a time. At its core, self-sabotage is born from fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what others may think, or even fear of facing the discomfort that comes with growth. It is the mind's natural tendency to protect itself from what feels uncertain or overwhelming, but this protection often traps us in a cycle of inaction and complacency. We tell ourselves we're not ready, that we'll do it tomorrow, that it's too risky or too hard, but these are merely excuses, faceless reflections of our own inner turmoil. When we allow fear to govern our actions, we forfeit the chance to shape our destiny. Understand, however, that this fear is not a force beyond our control. It is a product of our own thinking, and thus it can be undone by our own will. The battle with self-sabotage is not fought on the outside where circumstances and people exist. It is fought within, in the realm of thought, in the space between what we say we want and what we are willing to do to achieve it. To win this battle, we must first acknowledge that we are the ones standing in our own way. The enemy does not lie outside of us, but within, and only by confronting it can we unlock the power to change. We must ask ourselves, what do we fear? And why does this fear hold such power over us? When we question these beliefs, these unconscious narratives that we've allowed to govern our choices, we begin to uncover the truth. Fear is simply an emotion, a fleeting sensation. It does not define us, nor does it have the power to limit us unless we choose to give it that power. To overcome self-sabotage, we must redefine our relationship with fear. Rather than allowing it to paralyze us, we must let it be the catalyst for action, the fire that sharpens our resolve and propels us forward, not as a barrier, but as a signal that we are on the verge of something greater than ourselves. In the end, the true battle is not about conquering fear. It is about recognizing that fear does not have to dictate our actions. It is in the moments when we choose to move forward in spite of it that we claim victory. The war within will not be won by strength alone, but by wisdom. the wisdom to understand that self-sabotage is nothing more than a shadow of the mind. And like all shadows, it disappears when we step into the light of our own potential. 2. The mirror of our choices. Each day we stand before an invisible mirror, held up by the choices we make. The reflection we see is not one shaped by the circumstances around us, nor is it dictated by the opinions of others. No, this reflection is formed by our decisions, the actions we take, the words we speak, the commitments we keep or break. Every choice, no matter how small, serves as a stroke on the canvas of our life. What we see in the mirror of our choices reveals who we are, what we value, and what we are willing to sacrifice in pursuit of our goals. We often believe that we are victims of circumstance, that the world shapes us, and that we are powerless in the face of the forces that surround us. But this belief is an illusion. In truth, we are the architects of our own reality. We have the ability to shape our lives not through grand gestures or monumental acts, but through the simple, everyday decisions we make. Each time we choose the path of comfort over growth, procrastination over action, or fear over courage, we are choosing a version of ourselves that remains stagnant, stuck in the same place. The mirror reflects this stagnation, showing us not the person we wish to become, but the person we are choosing to be. To understand the power of our choices is to understand the power of self-discipline. Discipline is not about strict rules or the suppression of desires, but about alignment. Aligning our choices with our highest aspirations. Every time we choose to act in accordance with our goals, we strengthen the reflection we see in the mirror. But when we choose the path of least resistance, we distort that reflection, distancing ourselves from the life we wish to create. The key to breaking free from self-sabotage lies in recognizing that we have the power to choose. And with that power comes responsibility. We must ask ourselves, what is this choice reflecting about who I am and who I am becoming? Does this decision bring me closer to the life I envision, or does it push me further away? When we face ourselves in the mirror, we must be honest about what we see. If we are not living in alignment with our goals, then we must confront the fact that we are the ones holding ourselves back. No one else is to blame. Yet, there is no shame in this realization. In fact, it is the first step toward liberation. The moment we understand that our choices are reflections of our inner selves is the moment we reclaim our power. We can choose to align our actions with our intentions, to bring our goals into clearer focus, and to make decisions that move us closer to who we truly wish to become. This alignment requires courage. The courage to face the truth in the mirror, to acknowledge where we have been careless with our decisions, and to commit with unwavering resolve to act differently from this point forward. In the end, the mirror is not a source of judgment, but a guide. It shows us the truth, even when we do not want to see it. And when we choose to face that truth, we gain the clarity needed to move forward with purpose. The reflection we see in the mirror can be a source of inspiration if we allow it to be, reminding us that with each decision we shape not only our present, but our future. 3. Black Monday. Dead on failure. It is a word that chills the bones and tightens the chest. A silent enemy that lurks in the shadows of our ambitions, waiting for a moment of vulnerability to strike. But this enemy, though fearsome in its name, is not nearly as powerful as we have been led to believe. In truth, it is not failure itself that holds us back. It is our fear of failure, the illusion we create around it, that keeps us tethered to inaction. Fear is a mental construct, a shadow cast by the mind, and when we give it undue power, we allow it to dictate our choices, leading us to sabotage the very success we seek. We fear failure because it feels like a judgment, an irreversible mark of inadequacy. It makes us question our worth, our abilities, and even our potential. But what if we were to shift our perspective? What if failure were not a verdict, but a lesson, a necessary part of the journey to success? If we were to strip away the shame and the self-doubt that accompany failure, we would see it for what it truly is, a stepping stone, a moment of growth disguised in discomfort. The fear of failure often keeps us from even trying, from taking the first step, from reaching for something greater than what we currently know. We hesitate because we fear what might happen if we fall short. We create scenarios in our minds where failure leads to humiliation, rejection, or loss. And so, to avoid this outcome, we remain stagnant, never moving, never growing, never taking risks. But in avoiding failure, we also avoid success. The greatest achievers are not those who never fail. They are those who fail, learn, and rise again. They have mastered the art of failing forward, seeing each setback as an opportunity to recalibrate, to learn, and to move closer to their ultimate goal. To overcome the fear of failure, we must first reframe it. We must accept that failure is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. When we let go of the need for perfection and the desire to avoid mistakes, we free ourselves from the paralyzing grip of fear. We no longer see failure as a final destination, but as a temporary stop on the road to mastery. Every failure brings with it invaluable insight, teaching us what does not work, so that we can adjust our approach and try again with greater wisdom. Understand, too, that fear of failure is often a mask for a deeper fear, the fear of stepping into our own power. We may fear failure because on some level we are afraid of what we might become if we succeed. Success requires responsibility, change, and the courage to step into unfamiliar territory. It demands that we leave behind the safety of mediocrity and embrace the discomfort of growth. The fear of failure, then, is not only a fear of the unknown, but a fear of our own potential. To overcome this, we must confront the truth that we are more capable, more resilient, and more resourceful than we have allowed ourselves to believe. The key to breaking free from the fear of failure is not to avoid failure, but to redefine it. We must stop seeing failure as an enemy and begin to see it as an ally. It is the teacher that shows us where we are weak, where we need to grow, and where we must improve. When we approach failure with humility and openness, we find that it no longer has the power to paralyze us. Instead, it becomes the fertile ground from which success can grow. To walk the path of true growth, we must abandon the fear of failure and replace it with the courage to fail forward. When we understand that failure is not a reflection of our worth, but a part of the process, we will no longer fear it. Instead, we will welcome it as a necessary companion on our journey toward greatness. In doing so, we step into our own power, no longer bound by the invisible chains of fear, but propelled by the wisdom and strength that failure has given us. 4. Breaking free from limiting beliefs. Our beliefs shape our world. They determine the actions we take, the goals we set, and the way we see ourselves. Yet many of us unknowingly carry within us a set of limiting beliefs, false narratives that bind us to mediocrity, to a life of untapped potential. These beliefs are not the truth. They are simply stories we have accepted as reality. And, like invisible chains, they hold us back from stepping into the fullness of our power. The most dangerous of these beliefs are those we have internalized over time. We have learned them from our upbringing, from society, from failures we have faced, and from the judgments of others. We tell ourselves that we are not capable, that we are not deserving, that success is for others, not for us. These beliefs become our prison, and with each passing day we grow more accustomed to the bars. We forget that we hold the key to the door, and that key is the power to challenge and rewrite those beliefs. To break free from limiting beliefs, we must first identify them. We must become aware of the thoughts that limit us, the ones that whisper, "You can't do this," or "It's too late for you," or "You don't have what it takes." These thoughts, though powerful, are rooted in fear, not in truth. They are not facts, they are merely reflections of our doubts and insecurities. The moment we recognize these beliefs for what they are, false and limiting, we begin to take away their power. It is important to understand that our beliefs are not set in stone. They are malleable, fluid, and capable of being transformed. The mind is a fertile field, and the seeds we plant there will grow into the reality we experience. If we choose to plant seeds of doubt and limitation, then we will harvest a life of frustration and unfulfilled potential. But if we plant seeds of possibility, of strength and of confidence, then we will grow a life rich with opportunity and achievement. The process of rewriting our beliefs begins with the question, what would I do if I believed I was capable of achieving my goals? If we allow ourselves to imagine a reality where we are not held back by fear or doubt, we begin to see new possibilities. In this space of possibility, we find the courage to act, not because we are free from fear, but because we believe, deep down, that we are worthy of success. We no longer see ourselves as victims of circumstance, but as creators of our own destiny. To replace limiting beliefs, we must also practice self-compassion. We must forgive ourselves for the times we have held ourselves back, for the moments we have doubted our worth. Self-compassion is not about indulging in our weaknesses, but about acknowledging that we are human and that growth is a process. It is through self-compassion that we learn to be patient with ourselves as we shift our mindset and take the necessary steps to align our beliefs with our goals. Furthermore, we must surround ourselves with evidence that challenges our limiting beliefs. Look for examples of those who have overcome similar obstacles, who have achieved greatness despite the odds. Read the stories of those who have risen from failure, who have transformed their lives by changing their mindset. Let these stories be a mirror that reflects the truth of what is possible, not just for them, but for you as well. The more we expose ourselves to success stories, the more we begin to internalize the belief that success is not reserved for a select few, but available to anyone willing to challenge their limits. Ultimately, breaking free from limiting beliefs requires courage. The courage to question the stories we've told ourselves, the courage to rewrite the narrative, and the courage to take action in alignment with our new beliefs. It is through this courage that we unlock our potential and create a life that reflects the truth of who we are, capable, powerful, and deserving of everything we desire. In the end, the only limits that exist are the ones we impose upon ourselves. The moment we choose to believe in our limitless potential, we begin to see the world not as a place of restrictions, but as a canvas upon which we can paint our greatest masterpiece. The only thing standing between us and the life we seek is the belief that we are not worthy of it, and once we let go of that belief, we will find that the world is full of opportunities waiting for us to claim them. 5. Clarity of purpose, the path to freedom. Clarity is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Without clarity, we wander aimlessly, trapped in a fog of confusion and indecision, unsure of where we are headed or what we are striving for. In this haze, we lose sight of our true potential. We allow distractions, doubts, and external pressures to pull us in every direction, weakening our resolve and diluting our focus. But when we gain clarity of purpose, we find our center and everything else falls into place. Purpose is the anchor that grounds us in the midst of life's storms. It is the reason we wake up each morning, the fire that fuels our actions, and the compass that guides us through the complexities of life. Without purpose, we are like a ship adrift on the ocean, tossed around by the waves of circumstance. But with purpose, we become the captains of our own journey, steering our ship with intent and direction. To gain clarity of purpose, we must first look within. We must ask ourselves the difficult questions. What is it that truly matters to me? What do I want my life to stand for? What legacy do I want to leave behind? These are not questions to be answered in haste, for they require deep reflection and honest introspection. The answers may not come immediately, but when they do, they will illuminate the path forward, cutting through the fog and giving us the clarity we need to move confidently in the direction of our dreams. Purpose is not something we find by chasing after external validation or accolades. It is not about living up to the expectations of others, nor is it about achieving success as the world defines it. True purpose comes from within. It is a reflection of our deepest values, our passions, and the unique gifts we have to offer the world. It is the alignment of our actions with our highest vision of who we want to be and what we want to contribute. Once we gain clarity of purpose, we will find that distractions lose their power over us. The noise of the world may continue, but we will no longer be swayed by it. We will be guided by a deeper sense of knowing, one that aligns us with our true path and shields us from the temptation to veer off course. In this clarity, we find the strength to say no to the things that do not serve our purpose, and yes to the things that move us closer to it. But clarity of purpose is not a destination. It is a continual process, a practice of refining our vision and aligning our actions with it each day. As we grow, our understanding of our purpose may evolve, and that is a natural part of the journey. What matters is that we remain committed to the process of self-discovery and self-alignment. Every action we take, every choice we make, should reflect the clarity we have gained. And when we act with purpose, we find that the world opens up before us, and opportunities we once thought impossible begin to materialize. The freedom that comes with clarity is profound. It is the freedom to live authentically, to pursue what truly matters, and to navigate life with a sense of direction and fulfillment. When we know our purpose, we are no longer driven by the whims of external circumstances or the fleeting desires of the moment. We are driven by something deeper, a vision that transcends the chaos of the world and leads us to a life of meaning and significance. Ultimately, the path to freedom is not found in external achievements or possessions, but in the alignment of our actions with our purpose. When we are clear on who we are and what we stand for, we become unstoppable. The road may be long and the challenges may be great, but with clarity of purpose, we are always moving forward, and it is this forward momentum that brings us the peace and fulfillment we seek. The journey becomes not about reaching a destination, but about becoming who we were always meant to be. 6. The discipline of consistency. Consistency is the quiet force that propels us forward, not with the grandeur of sudden breakthroughs, but with the steady rhythm of persistent effort. It is the subtle power that shapes our success over time, the silent builder of mastery. Yet, too often we are seduced by the allure of quick fixes, by the promise of rapid transformation, and we overlook the truth. Lasting change is not the result of isolated bursts of effort, but of consistent action, day after day, even when the world around us seems indifferent. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, it is easy to dismiss the value of consistency. We are taught to chase after the next big opportunity, to jump from one shiny object to the next, always looking for the shortcut, the quick win, the path of least resistance. But real growth is not found in shortcuts. It is found in the dedication to the process, in the willingness to show up when the results are not immediately visible, and in the commitment to keep going when the journey feels long and the progress slow. To build the discipline of consistency, we must first recognize that success is not an event, but a process. It is the accumulation of small actions repeated over time that leads to extraordinary results. Whether we are striving to build a new skill, achieve a personal goal, or transform our lives, the key lies in making consistent, deliberate choices that align with our aspirations. It is not the grand gestures that create change, but the everyday decisions, the ones that we make when no one is watching, when the temptation to quit or to take a shortcut looms large. The path to mastery requires us to embrace the mundane, to find joy in the process rather than the outcome. This is where most people falter. They are motivated by the end result, by the desire for recognition or achievement, and when the reward feels distant or uncertain, they lose their drive. But those who succeed are not driven by the promise of future accolades. They are driven by the simple joy of doing the work itself. They understand that every day is an opportunity to move closer to their goal, and they are willing to put in the effort, regardless of how small or insignificant the task may seem in the moment. Consistency requires patience, a patience that is rooted in faith. Faith in the process, faith in the power of small actions, and faith in the understanding that every effort compounds over time. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not talent or intelligence, but the ability to remain consistent, even when the results are not immediate. Every successful person has faced moments of doubt, moments when the progress seemed too slow or the path too difficult. But it is in those moments that the true character is revealed. Will you persevere, or will you give in to impatience? To cultivate consistency, we must also practice self-discipline. Discipline is not about rigid rules or harsh restrictions, but about choosing to do what is necessary, even when it is uncomfortable. It is about showing up, day after day, even when the mind whispers that it's easier to rest, to delay, or to give up. Discipline is the muscle we build by repeatedly choosing action over inaction, progress over stagnation, and growth over comfort. It is important to understand that consistency does not mean perfection. There will be days when we fall short, when we slip, when we fail to keep our commitment. This is part of the process. Consistency is not about never making mistakes. It is about getting up each time we fall, about returning to the work, no matter how many times we stumble. Each misstep is a lesson, a reminder that the path is not linear and that the only failure is in not continuing. The discipline of consistency is the foundation of all achievement. It is the slow, deliberate carving of a path toward our goals. It is the quiet effort made day in and day out that compounds into something great. Success is not a sprint, it is a marathon, one that requires endurance, perseverance, and the unwavering commitment to keep moving forward. The journey will test us, but if we remain consistent, we will eventually arrive at the destination we seek. And so we must ask ourselves, what are we willing to commit to consistently? What is the one thing, no matter how small, that we can do each day to move closer to our goals? The answers lie not in the grand gestures, but in the small, steady actions that, over time, will create the life we desire. It is through consistency that we build the life we want, and it is in our commitment to the process that we find the strength to transform our dreams into reality. 7. The power of self-reflection, learning from within. In the noise and chaos of daily life, it is easy to lose sight of who we truly are and what we are truly capable of. We become so caught up in the rush of tasks, expectations, and distractions that we forget to pause and reflect. Yet, it is in these moments of stillness that we find the most profound insights about ourselves. Self-reflection is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the mirror through which we can examine our thoughts, our actions, and our progress. It is the key to understanding ourselves, unlocking our potential, and aligning our actions with our true values. Self-reflection requires courage. It asks us to confront not only our successes, but also our failures, our flaws, and our blind spots. It invites us to take an honest look at the patterns in our lives, the habits, beliefs, and behaviors that shape our reality. This process may be uncomfortable, even painful at times, but it is through this discomfort that we find the seeds of growth. To reflect is to be vulnerable with ourselves, to admit the areas where we have fallen short, and to acknowledge the parts of ourselves that we have neglected or ignored. But in doing so, we free ourselves from the shackles of ignorance and self-deception. We gain the clarity to course correct and the wisdom to move forward with intention. The act of reflection is not about self-criticism or judgment. It is about self-awareness. It is a tool for learning, not for punishing ourselves. When we reflect, we examine our choices, not with condemnation, but with curiosity. What led us to make this decision? What were we thinking when we took that action? How did we respond to challenges? And what can we learn from our reaction? The goal is not to dwell on our mistakes, but to learn from them. It is through this reflective practice that we begin to understand ourselves more deeply, to recognize the underlying motivations driving our behaviors, and to identify the patterns that either serve or hinder our growth. Self-reflection also requires honesty. We must be willing to look at ourselves without the filters of self-justification or denial. We must ask ourselves the difficult questions, even when we are afraid of the answers. Am I truly aligned with my values, or am I living according to the expectations of others? Have I been consistent in my actions, or have I allowed procrastination, fear, or distraction to derail my progress? Am I taking responsibility for my choices, or am I blaming external circumstances for my challenges? The answers to these questions may not always be easy to hear, but it is only through this brutal honesty that we can grow. Reflection, when done regularly, is a powerful tool for personal transformation. It is through self-reflection that we gain the awareness needed to make better decisions, to break free from limiting patterns, and to step into our full potential. But reflection is not just about looking back, it is about looking forward. with a renewed sense of clarity and purpose. Once we have examined our past, we use that wisdom to guide our future actions. Reflection gives us the opportunity to ask, what do I want to do differently moving forward? What new habits or behaviors do I want to cultivate? How can I use the lessons of the past to create a better tomorrow? Incorporating self-reflection into our daily lives doesn't require hours of meditation or journaling, though those practices can be helpful. It simply requires moments of intentional pause. It is about taking the time, even in the busiest of days, to check in with ourselves, to ask the important questions, and to honestly assess where we are. These moments of reflection create space for growth, for clarity, and for alignment with our highest vision. They help us stay grounded in our purpose and focused on the journey, rather than getting lost in the distractions of the world. Ultimately, the power of self-reflection lies in its ability to keep us connected to ourselves. It is the practice of continuously recalibrating, of refining our thoughts and actions, so that we can live a life of greater integrity, purpose, and fulfillment. By reflecting regularly, we grow in wisdom, understanding, and compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. It is through this process that we unlock the potential within us to achieve greatness, not by striving for perfection, but by striving for continuous growth and improvement. Self-reflection, when embraced, becomes a compass that guides us on our path, ensuring that we stay true to ourselves and our highest aspirations. 8. Embracing discomfort. The gateway to growth. We often seek comfort, yearning for ease and security in our lives. We surround ourselves with familiar routines, predictable outcomes, and environments that make us feel safe. There is nothing wrong with wanting comfort. After all, it is human nature to avoid pain and hardship. But here lies the paradox. It is in discomfort, in the moments that challenge us and push us beyond our limits, that we experience the greatest growth. Discomfort is not our enemy. It is not a sign that we are on the wrong path or that something is wrong with us. In fact, discomfort is often the very signal that we are on the edge of something great, that we are standing at the threshold of transformation. It is the discomfort of stepping out of our comfort zones, of trying something new, of facing our fears, that forces us to grow and evolve. Without discomfort, there can be no progress. Without resistance, there can be no strength. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance training, our character, abilities, and resilience are built through the discomfort of life's challenges. The Stoics understood this well. They recognized that true freedom and power come not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing it. They saw hardship as an opportunity to develop virtue, whether it was patience, courage, wisdom, or self-discipline. They believed that by facing adversity with grace and composure, we could cultivate an unshakable inner strength that would carry us through any storm. To embrace discomfort is to recognize that it is a natural part of the human experience, not something to be feared or avoided. Life will never be free from challenges or hardship, and we must learn not only to tolerate discomfort, but to welcome it as an essential part of our growth. The discomfort we feel when we step outside of our familiar patterns is not a sign that we are failing. It is a sign that we are expanding, that we are testing our limits and learning to navigate the unknown. It is in these moments of discomfort that we are most alive, most engaged with the present moment, and most capable of transformation. The key to embracing discomfort lies in reframing how we view it. Instead of seeing discomfort as a threat or a burden, we must begin to see it as a teacher. Every uncomfortable experience carries with it valuable lessons, lessons about our own resilience, about our capacity to adapt, and about our potential to overcome. The next time you face discomfort, instead of retreating or avoiding it, ask yourself, what is this situation teaching me? How can I use this challenge to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable? Discomfort also forces us to confront our fears. It asks us to move forward even when we feel uncertain, when the outcome is unclear, and when failure seems possible. But it is only through facing our fears that we learn that they do not control us. The more we lean into discomfort, the less power fear has over us. We begin to see that the things we once feared were not as dangerous as we imagined. And we realize that the true danger lies in avoiding discomfort altogether. Because when we avoid discomfort, we also avoid the growth and opportunities that lie on the other side. To embrace discomfort fully, we must also cultivate patience. Growth is a gradual process, and it is rarely linear. There will be moments of progress, but there will also be setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when we feel like giving up. Patience is the ability to stay committed to the process, even when the discomfort feels overwhelming. It is the willingness to continue moving forward, even when the path seems unclear or difficult. Patience allows us to endure the temporary discomfort of growth, knowing that it will eventually lead to a place of greater strength, wisdom, and fulfillment. In the pursuit of our goals, we will encounter many obstacles. Times when we feel tired, when we question our abilities, when we wonder if the journey is worth it. It is in these moments that we must remember that discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is a sign to keep going. The discomfort we feel today is the growth we will experience tomorrow. It is the forging of our character, the honing of our skills, and the cultivation of the qualities that will carry us toward our greatest potential. In the end, it is not the absence of discomfort that leads to a meaningful life, but our ability to embrace it with courage, patience, and resilience. When we learn to face discomfort head-on, we discover that we are capable of far more than we ever thought possible. We realize that we are not defined by our struggles, but by how we respond to them. And in embracing discomfort, we open ourselves to the vast potential that lies just beyond our comfort zones, ready to be claimed. The gateway to growth is not in avoiding hardship, but in walking boldly through it. And it is on the other side of discomfort that we find the greatest rewards of life. 9. Mastering patience, the art of long-term focus. Patience is not a passive waiting game. It is an active, deliberate process of choosing to trust in the journey, even when the fruits of our labor are not immediately visible. In a world driven by instant results and immediate gratification, patience has become a rare and invaluable virtue. Yet, it is through patience that we unlock the greatest treasures of life: depth, mastery, and the ability to endure the inevitable challenges that come our way. We often confuse patience with passivity, thinking that to be patient is to do nothing, to simply wait for life to unfold. But this could not be further from the truth. True patience is a force of action. It is the quiet strength to stay focused on our goals despite the distractions, setbacks, and obstacles that arise along the way. It is the ability to persist even when the rewards feel distant or uncertain, and to continue moving forward with steady resolve, knowing that each small step is leading us closer to the outcome we desire. To master patience, we must first accept that time is the most precious resource we have. Unlike money or material possessions, Time cannot be reclaimed once it is spent. Every moment we waste chasing after quick fixes or fleeting pleasures is a moment lost in the pursuit of our true potential. Patience teaches us to honor time, to understand that real growth, success, and fulfillment come from the slow accumulation of effort, not from sudden bursts of action or external rewards. When we are impatient, we focus on the outcome. We want to see results now, and we grow frustrated when they don't come as quickly as we'd hoped. This impatience clouds our judgment, distracts us from the process, and often leads to rash decisions or premature actions. But when we cultivate patience, we shift our focus from the destination to the journey itself. We understand that the process, with all its struggles, setbacks, and small victories, is just as important, if not more so, than the end result. The wisdom gained, the lessons learned, and the strength developed along the way are what truly shape us, not just the final goal. Mastering patience also means learning to embrace discomfort and delay. In a world that demands instant results, it can be difficult to wait. We are taught to measure our worth by how quickly we achieve success or how fast we can reach our goals. But true mastery, whether in a craft, a skill, or in life itself, requires time and persistence. The finest artists, the greatest thinkers, and the most accomplished individuals did not achieve their success overnight. They endured years of practice, setbacks, failures, and delays before they saw the fruits of their labor. Patience gives us the strength to endure this necessary process, trusting that each step is a step toward mastery. In mastering patience, we must also practice mindfulness. Patience is not about waiting in frustration or resignation. It is about being fully present in the moment, embracing the here and now, and finding peace in the process. It is about understanding that while the future is important, the present moment is where our power lies. We cannot change the past, and we cannot predict the future, but we can control how we show up today. When we learn to be patient with ourselves and with the process, we free ourselves from the anxiety of rushing and the fear of falling behind. We embrace the natural rhythm of progress and growth, trusting that, in time, we will arrive where we need to be. Another aspect of patience is learning to let go of perfectionism. We often become impatient with ourselves when we feel that we are not progressing fast enough or achieving our goals to the standard we have set. But the pursuit of perfection is an illusion, and it only breeds frustration and self-doubt. Patience teaches us that progress is enough. It is the willingness to take imperfect steps, to make mistakes, and to learn from them that leads to lasting success. The road to mastery is paved with setbacks, but it is through patience that we turn those setbacks into opportunities for growth. Patience also nurtures resilience. When we are patient, we learn to handle challenges with grace. We understand that failure is not a reflection of our worth, but a necessary part of the learning process. Every setback becomes a lesson, every delay a chance to build greater strength. With patience, we become more resilient to the ups and downs of life. We are not easily discouraged by temporary obstacles because we understand that they are not the end, but simply part of the journey. The mastery of patience is the ability to stay the course, no matter how long or difficult the journey may be. It is the quiet determination to keep moving forward, trusting that with each step we are drawing closer to our goals. It is about being present in the process, savoring the growth, and understanding that success is not just about the destination, but about who we become along the way. True patience transforms us from impulsive dreamers into steadfast achievers. It teaches us that greatness is not built in a day, but over the course of a lifetime. Patience is the cornerstone of all mastery, and it is only through its practice that we can truly live in alignment with our deepest aspirations.